Thayet here the weekly highlights of Arakan. Over 40 people including students killed or injured in Thayet Ta Pin village airstrike. Junta leader clears Dr. Imo to run in upcoming election. Shortage of specialist doctors in AA-controlled areas creates serious challenges for civilians. AA officer and troop member killed while inspecting illegal fishing trawlers. Over 600 passengers stranded in Kyaukphyu facing hardships. Sittwe residents turn to herbal remedies amid severe medicine shortages. In Arakan, intense fighting between the Myanmar military and the Arakan army has been ongoing for over a year. From September 8th to 14th of 2025, we'll be bringing you notable updates from Arakan. Over 40 people including students killed or injured in Thayet Ta Pin village airstrike. In Thayet Ta Pin village, Kyaukphyu township, Arakan state, more than 40 people including students were killed or injured when the junta carried out an airstrike on Arakan private high school. At around 1 a.m. on 12th of September, a junta jet fighter dropped 2 bombs directly on Arakan private high school. As a result, 20 students were killed and 22 others injured. Among the dead and injured students were those from villages such as Janongkan, Lema, Kyaukphyu, Ramabron, Thayet Ta Pin, and Zididal, as well as from Baodo and Maung townships. Human rights organizations, the international community, and the United Nations have strongly condemned the junta's mass killings and airstrikes. UNICEF stated that all parties involved in the conflict are obligated under international law to protect civilians including children and to ensure that urgent humanitarian assistance reaches those in need. Junta leader clears Dr. Imo to run in upcoming election. Dr. Imo, chairman of the Arakan Front Party AFP, has been cleared to contest in the upcoming election after junta leader Senior General Maung issued an order removing the illegal barriers stemming from his past convictions. In 2018, Dr. Imo was sentenced to 20 years in prison under charges of high treason and undermining national unity. As a result, under Section 88A of the Bridulota election law, he was barred from contesting in elections. Now the junta chief has signed an order granting him amnesty and restoring his right to run, stating that Dr. Imo has pledged to faithfully uphold the 3 national causes without deviation, and that the pardon was granted with the approval of the council. Accordingly, as of 11th of September, Dr. Imo has been officially absolved of the charges of the high treason under Penal Code Section 122(1) and undermining national unity under Penal Code Section 505(b). Dr. Imo was originally sentenced to 20 years in prison during the NLD government for his involvement in a speech at Rathdedong Township, commemorating the loss of Arakan sovereignty. He was released on 12th of February 2021 shortly after the coup under a general amnesty. Since his release, Dr. Imo has consistently made public statements using rhetoric critical of the Arakanese resistant movement and in support of elections organized by the junta. In the upcoming election planned by the junta, Dr. Imo will contest in Sittwe Township for a seat in the national parliament, and the AFP has announced its plans to field candidates as many as 64 constituencies nationwide, according to an interview he gave to Popular News Agency. Shortage of specialist doctors in AA-controlled areas creates serious challenges for civilians. In areas controlled by the Arakan army, the healthcare sector is under strain, and the shortage of specialist doctors has left civilians facing major difficulties in accessing proper medical treatment. Currently, hospitals and clinics in AA-administered regions have only a limited number of doctors specializing in fields such as dentistry, ophthalmology, neurology, obstetrics, gynecology, orthopedics, and general medicine. As a result, patients with conditions outside these specialties are often treated only by general practitioners. Although some newly graduated doctors have come to Arakan state, many of them have moved back to mainland Myanmar due to ongoing clashes between the junta and the AA. This has further reduced the number of skilled doctors in the region, creating a major challenge for public health care. Patients who require specialist care try to travel to mainland Myanmar, but they face serious obstacles due to the junta's road blockades and restrictions on movement. Only a small number of people who can afford the expenses, sometimes amounting to hundreds of thousands of jets, are able to seek medical treatment in India. Civil society activists have therefore stressed the need to encourage volunteer and specialist doctors from mainland Myanmar to serve in Arakan, and to provide incentives and security guarantees to attract doctors willing to work in the conflict-affected region. An officer and a member of the Arakan Army Coastal Security Force were killed while inspecting Bangladeshi fishing trawlers illegally operating in Arakan state waters, according to the AA. On September 10th, around 80 Bangladeshi fishing trawlers reportedly trespassed into Arakan's territorial waters and engaged in illegal fishing near Gogengao and Chinkali villages in Rathidao Township. They said in a September 12th statement, A coastal security personnel pursued and managed to seize 5 of the trawlers. These vessels were brought ashore to Arakan territory later that afternoon for inspection and questioning. Among them, one trawler carrying armed men disguised as a fisherman killed an AA officer and a troop member during the inspection, seized their weapons, and fled back into Bangladeshi waters, the AA said. Observers note that in Arakan today, the AA not only takes on military responsibilities but also assumes administrative controls of territories, which requires it to carefully handle and resolve long-standing local issues. Although the AA frequently detains Bangladeshi nationals engaged in illegal fishing within Arakan waters, it has not yet been able to put a complete stop to such intrusions. The AA stated that this latest incident was not only an act of large-scale illegal fishing, but also an act of terrorism involving the killing of coastal security personnel and the seizure of their weapons, vowing to respond effectively. Over 600 passengers stranded in Kyaukphyu facing hardships. More than 600 passengers have been stranded in Kyaukphyu town for over 20 days due to the Junta's blockade, leaving them unable to return to their hometowns and facing hardships, including financial difficulties, food shortages, and accommodation problems. The stranded passengers are ethnic Arakan people who had been living abroad or in other parts of Myanmar. They had flown from Yangon to Kyaukphyu with the intention of traveling onward to their respective townships. However, since the 3rd week of August, the junta has blocked departures from Kyaukphyu, leaving them trapped in the town. Residents said that previously, passengers were allowed to leave Kyaukphyu township with a departure permit issued by the township administrator. But the military has now imposed a direct blockade without explanation. Among the stranded, about 30 passengers were reportedly arrested by the junta troops after attempting to leave secretly. Similarly, in February 2024, around 100 Arakan residents who arrived in Kyaukphyu on flights from Yangon were also subjected to the junta's blockade, and at least 6 of them were arrested. Currently, the junta has tightened security in Kyaukphyu town, conducting frequent searches and even entering homes, creating a climate of fear among local residents. In Sittwe, the capital of Arakan state, still under junta control, residents are increasingly relying on traditional herbal remedies as basic medicines have run out, according to local sources. Residents said that since August, the junta has blocked the transport of medicines, basic food supplies, and other goods via flights from Yangon to Sittwe, leading to growing shortages inside the town. Currently, the price of a single paracetamol blister packet in Sittwe has soared to around 10,000 jets, while other essential medicines including ointments for bone and joint pain, are no longer available. Previously, almost all Yangon-Sittwe flights carried small amounts of medicines and other goods, but with the junta's recent ban, the shortages have become critical, leaving residents to face increasingly dire consequences. These were the main highlights of the past week in Arakan. This program is presented every Tuesday, so please stay tuned. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.